tonight is really the last night, and I want to prove that I can actually handle the situation properly. I will actually demonstrate it, but before that, I'd like to actually watch some more news. 궁금하네. 잠깐만요, 뉴스 좀 궁금해가지고. Oh no, I actually read that Joe Biden picks a formal White House top official Ron Klein as his chief of staff. I've already actually mentioned it. Have a clear eyes for you. You think that my eyes are not good enough? That's not true. I really actually read English faster than most of the people. I'm not lying. You want to see that? I really actually read it. That's really a bullshit. I do not actually, inveterate. Yeah, it's really chronic. I'm not lying. I can actually play multiple hours, have no mistake at all. Listless. No, that's really not true. It's not true. I actually don't want to play it. I should have. No, it's not heavy. It's so not true. You know what? Those people who hate me, they're really biased because they never even actually watch me. They're second guessing, how many hours I have used and how I actually sometimes never really should have played anything, but I was still holding on to it out of addiction type of attitude. But I have no problem. If one teacher actually asks you to do so, maybe they actually give such a boring lecture. I don't really need to think about it. I'm really fast. 진짜 빨라요. 진짜 됐죠? 되게 빨라요. 진짜 빠른데. 저 뉴스 잠깐만 좀 보고 오면 안 돼? 궁금해서 그런데. 진짜 빠른데 계속 할 수 있어, 오늘 하루 종일.
Hospitals are already strained, and doctors tell me that it takes about 2 weeks for those new numbers, new cases, to translate into hospitalizations. Medical officials are bracing for the worst.
Mm-hmm. So right now, hospitals are experiencing significant overcapacity limits. So medical experts and doctors say one should at least expect to have 2 weeks before getting into hospital or before being hospitalized or before obtaining any meaningful medical service, because the capacity of hospitals is regularly overwhelmed with the new surge in the coronavirus cases. That's really the continuous trend here. Unless there is a significant turn to break away from this surge, there's no chance you might obtain easy solution to the problem.
Hospital's intensive care unit and is preparing for another surge.
Ask me in 2 weeks, we'll be having a different conversation again, because I think we'll see our hospitalizations increase across the state. And again, it's the suffering that weighs on me. It's the suffering of the patients. It's the suffering of the staff who feel helpless.
Mm-hmm. So, the 2 weeks would be a threshold. Because, in Utah, there are many hospitals. They're all experiencing significant strain on their capacity. They're actually buckling under. That means they're actually being excessively pressed by this new surge. They're actually being overstretched. They are trying to get themselves ready for a new challenge to come. But in the midst of this awakened alert on the COVID-19 surge, they are still being excessively nervous, because they knew that if this continues, there's no chance they would accommodate every patient arising from the COVID-19. It's not likely. So they've been actually, hankering down, and they are trying to be in high gear, but that's not going to work out. So the 2 weeks notice wouldn't be a very important to decide how to cope with the situation and how to lay down more strategies. But the trend, one thing for sure, if this trend somehow continues and subsists, then there will be a significant limitation on the number of people accepted as inpatient, in-hospital patients for inpatient treatment. So it's really a critical moment, but they are leaning toward the overcapacity very seriously.
She wants others to learn from her family's tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating that people brush it off, that it is just the flu.
Mm-hmm.
Because for some people it's not.
Mm-hmm. This lady, Lisa, she loses her mother and her grandfather. What does that mean? Some people actually say that, they just actually downplay the importance. They just brushes it off as if this would be just a fluke. This is just a seasonal thing. Fluke, sometimes means just a once in a lifetime, seasonal event that would have never come back sooner or later, but that's just a one-time thingy. You know what? There were so many folks who just really never wanted to recognize the importance of a COVID-19, saying that, this is just, once in a century, once in a million years event. It's not going to come, and it's going to go away eventually. This shall soon pass. They actually, normally take it lightly. Of course, in need of those people who might not be affected by losing one of their beloved, then they would actually see in this way. But, to me, it's up close and personal. It's a very devastating. The very touch of the COVID-19 is threatening, and it still hurts her feeling deeply because she loses two most significant members of her family: her mother, her biological mother, and her grandfather. There was no indication whether parental or maternal. But some people actually brush this off. That means some people just actually whisks it off, saying that, this is just a seasonal fluke. This is just a one-time thingy. This is nothing. It will eventually go away, just like Donald Trump. Hey, you know what? If I can actually get it over, you can actually do it. You can actually overcome it. You can get over it. Like this type of a light levity could be sometimes very troublesome and a deeply disturbing, because she is hit by the COVID-19 personally. It cuts her to the quick. There is emotional trauma haunting her, and it's gonna be in that way for a while. So it's not going to go away. Even the COVID-19 pandemic crisis finally may, put itself to an end, or finally it gets terminated. Eventually, if it gets terminated eventually, but this lasting impact on her composure will last, because it's a really monstrous pandemic, which it costs her precious family members. That's what she said. Of course, I can actually hear the sentiment. 그렇게 말했어요. 근데 나 그럼 이거 할게요. 그냥 좀 궁금하긴 한데.